He's a friend and not your foe. He's a friend and not your foe. He's a friend and not your foe.
I think before the earthquake, Canterbury was just united on one thing, and that was its sport, its rugby. And after the earthquake, it meant a whole lot more. After the February earthquake, I think we had something around 70,000 people leave the city because they just couldn't hold any more aftershocks. They just couldn't hold it anymore. They feared for their lives, and that's understandable. But then for the people that stayed, they were the true Cantabrians. They had faith, they had strength, and they had the resilience that we needed to get through such a situation like that. People who came and just they were there for one another, neighbours talking to neighbours that had lived together for 20 odd years. They had never actually talked to each other or said hi, and then now they're providing food. They had camp outs, and they knew that it was tough, it was hard, but they were going to get through this, and that was community resilience to me. That faith, that enduring faith throughout the whole recovery stage, and it's still going. One can only build on that resilience. The walls were moving, and then all of a sudden I noticed the ground, as if something from underneath the ground was moving, and as I tried to move or get beside a wall or some sort of safety, I was thrown backwards. I was landed on my back, which was pretty lucky because there was a computer desk beside me. So I went under a computer desk and I held out for a good, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds till the shaking was over. The bookshelves, they all fell over. There was cracks in the library wall. And then it just sort of hit in that, wow, this is so much different to the September one. And we all evacuated the school. Our school, Burnside High School, is massive. It's got 2,700 students. So all of us, we had to evacuate, go out onto the paddocks, and then as we'd evacuated, another aftershock came. It was about probably a 5.5 on the Richter scale, and that one was that further just destabilised all nerves they were holding. Support for young people. There are many organisations and groups that are set up to help young people, but I don't think there's a sense of awareness with young people. I think before the earthquake, the young people, especially the teens, they were seen as there was always a negative light about teens. They were seen as hooligans. They were boy racers, binge drinking and whatnot. But the Student Volunteer Army really changed that perspective. Now I think there's still not enough awareness about youth and what they can do. I think that's growing though, but there still needs to be more done to make the young people aware that they can do something. Because the personal gains from me joining the Student Volunteer Army was because I lost that feeling of helplessness. I was actually doing something, and that made me feel so good. And I think that if the young people, if the youth of the nation are aware that they can be of service, then I think they'll just grab at that chance. So I'm Abbas. I'm currently 16 years of age, and came to New Zealand when I was about 7 years old. We were on a fishing vessel made to host maybe about 20 people, but we'd managed to fit around 480 people onto the ship, and we were on our way to enter Australia, but didn't happen. Along the way we had engine problems, and the MV Tampa, which was a container ship, that came along, picked us out of the Indian Ocean, and from then on ensued international political struggle over who has to take responsibility for these 400 odd refugees. So at the end, after maybe 2 months at sea, not knowing where to go, the New Zealand government accepted us as part of their United Nations refugee quota, and that's how I managed to get to New Zealand, and I've lived here ever since. And so the first few days after the earthquake, people were just at home or with family, just, you know, wanting to do something. That's how I felt. I felt helpless. You know, my home was on the western side. My home was fine. Everyone in my family was fine. So, and I just felt useless. You know, I was watching TV. It's 24 hours, all these pictures coming in. And so I heard about the volunteer army through a friend. And it was just, oh, it was amazing. As soon as I heard about it, I went down to the university campus. We were all loaded on buses. We were given gloves, given shovels, given wheelbarrows, and told to go out and help people in need. And that was, you know, some people see it as, oh, you're moving mud from someone's house, oh, cool. But, you know, it's about more than that. It's about people coming together, people who want to do something, and they actually do something about it. You know, they do something to get rid of that feeling of helplessness. I think that was really just a bright spot in a dark world. It's really cool meeting new people from around the world, just getting to know people, learning about their experiences of natural disasters. I think it's really nice. Just, you know, you wouldn't do this on a normal basis. And yeah, it's just good to meet people from all around, to see what's happening, see, you know, hear stories about their side of the world and share experiences. And proud to say that I'm a Kiwi. I mean, I've assimilated and integrated into community really well. I mean, I picked up the language, picked up the culture, and I picked up a sporting life as well. I play rugby, something that you won't see in Afghanistan much. Yeah, school life is really good. I know that education, I'm really lucky to receive the education that I do, because I know that there's 1,000 people who want to be in my position that can't. So I'm really, you know, I seize every opportunity I can. In terms of integrating and the difficulty of it, it wasn't that difficult for me. I was 7 when I came to New Zealand, so as a child you learn and you pick up things a lot easier than when you're older. You're a lot more accepting of change. So I just picked things up real well, and I think But I am going through a bit of a identity crisis when people ask, or when I'm writing forms, you know, where are you from? Or do I say Kiwi, or do I say, you know, Middle Eastern or Afghan? So yeah, but that's part of it, I guess. And you just learn to, you know, you learn to be proud of it. You learn to be proud of your heritage, and that's something you don't ever lose.
Thanks, man.
There you go.
We can